everyone! Today I have for you a golden cranberry look. I'm going to start off by using my Maybelline Master Prime Primer. This is a blur and smooth one, and I'm going to apply it all over my face, but as you'll see here, I have a little bit of difficulty doing that because I'm running out, which means I have to go buy a new one with the money that I don't have. So I kind of had like an oh shit moment here where I was like, I have to go buy a new one. So I'm just going to apply this to the center of my face just because I noticed that that's where I need the most blurring because of my pores. I don't have large pores, but I do have noticeable ones. Next, I'm going to go in with my All Nighter Foundation by Urban Decay. I'm in the shade 0.5. And I'm going to just take this on my Morphe M439 brush and apply it all over my face. Normally, I go in with buffing motion, so that's kind of what you'll see here. I kind of stroke it out first, and then I pat it in, and then I use circular motions to kind of get the optimal look. Next, I'm going to use my L'Oreal Beauty Sponge just to smooth out my face to get rid of any harsh brush marks that may be left over from me blending. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a close-up, and you'll see my acne in one moment and how good this foundation covers it. It's amazing. Next, I'm going to go in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Concealer in the shade 0.5 and the same L'Oreal Beauty Sponge, and I'm going to conceal these under eyes. I'm going to start in the inner corner of my eye and blend outward though, just so we don't emphasize those under eye wrinkles and we avoid any creasing happening under the eye as well. You'll see here that I'm taking it outwards each and every time, and it just looks very smooth and effortless under the eye. You'll also see in a few seconds that my dad comes in and delivers me breakfast, so I was like, wow, thanks, much gratitude. Next, I'm going to go in with the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonlight, and I'm going to apply this to all the high points of my faces, so my cheekbones, my cupid's bow, my nose, the little like reflective spot on your forehead when it just hits the light properly. And I'm going to go in with my finger at first, but then I decided against it because of how like shiny and reflective it was. So I took my beauty blender to blend it out so I would get that like lit from within type of look. Just because although we want to be golden in this look, I still want to make sure that it's not like a harsh highlight. It looks like it was very effortless. Go in with my Maybelline SuperStay Better Skin Powder, and I'm going to set my face with the Ecotools brush. I'm going to use this brush mainly for my T-zone just because I get really oily there, and I kid you not, if you have oily skin, this powder will become your best friend. I'm going to switch over to my e.l.f. powder brush for the rest of my face just because I don't need that much powder all over my entire face. I just really need the powder in my T-zone, but I do want to give a little light dusting so it's easier for the other products that I'm going to use later to blend over my face. Next, I'm going to go in with my Toofaced Milk Chocolate Matte Bronzer, and I'm going to use my Royal and Langnickel Moda Pro brush. This is the pointed blush brush that we received in the BOXYCHARM. Shout out to Kathleen Lights there. I actually really like this brush. I haven't used it for blush though. I've only really used it for bronzer just because I noticed that it kind of tailors out to a nice tip at the end of the brush. So for me, it just looks a lot better for bronzer, but I may give it a go when it comes to blush. I would just have to wash it first. You know what I mean. But yeah, here you just see me kind of doing it like a half 3. I only do my cheek and my forehead, and then later on you'll see me go in to blend the bronzer underneath my neck just to make sure that my neck matches my face. Next, I'm going to throw my brush on my bed since I'm not using it anymore, and I'm going to have a little jam sesh. And then I'm going to go in with my Wet n Wild Color Icon Apricot in the middle blush, and I'm going to use my Morphe E4 brush. Again, this is an angled contour brush. Again, you'll see I'm not using it to contour. I'm using it for blush because I like to do weird things like that. I'm going to go in with my Cover FX Illuminating Setting Spray and I'm going to drench myself in setting spray because what better way to do that in the makeup industry than to drench yourself in setting spray. I'm going to use the Flexitarian highlighter by Colourpop. This literally gives you the look of like being sweaty without being sweaty. I don't know how else to explain it. It is literally the best highlighter. I'm not the type of person that likes chunky glitter highlighters. I really like it so that it's silky and it leaves you looking very glowy and dewy, and I normally don't like dewiness. I'm a very matte skin person, but this highlighter just gives me life. Just look at it. It looks so good. I'm using a Morphe 510, yes, Morphe 510 brush to highlight my face. I'm highlighting all the same areas that I did with the liquid highlighter earlier on. Next, I'm going to go in with the crown brush from the BOXYCHARM box last month, and I'm going to carve out those cheekbones with the same powder that I used earlier to set my face. Next, I'm going to use my e.l.f. Cosmetics brow pencil in the shade Taupe to do my eyebrows, and I'll be doing those off camera, and I'll be right back. And now I have a cup of coffee and my brows are done. Life is great. I used the concealer from before to carve out my brows, and I also used the Benefit Give Me Brow to set them. Next, I'm going to go in with the Lorac eyeshadow primer, and I'm going to put that all over my lids so that we have an even base for our eyeshadow look. Da 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 da! I have the ABH Cosmetics Carli Bybel palette and I'm so excited! These colors are so beautiful. If you just want to be able to create a really simple bronzy look, you have all these shades to choose from, including 4 huge pans of highlighters you can use as eyeshadow. I'm going to take my Wet n Wild brush and I'm going to go into the first shade in the palette. It is this nice bone color, and I'm going to use this to set all over my lid. As you can see here, though, I did tap off some powder because these shadows are highly pigmented, and because of it, there's going to be a lot of fallout. So make sure to tap your brush before going in so you don't get the fallout all over your face. Next, I'm grabbing the Luxie 213T brush, and I'm going to go into the third shade in the palette. And this shade is a nice milk chocolate type of brown, but I'm only dipping my brush in once because we will be using this as our transition color. The transition color normally goes in the area between your brow bone and your crease, so you'll see that's where I'm putting it. And I'm kind of doing like 3 swivels back and forth and then bringing it in deeper into the socket of my eye towards the inner corner, just because I want to make sure that the color is diffused. That's one of the main reasons why I only dipped my brush in once into this color, because this color isn't your typical transition shade. It's a really deep, like kind of like crease color, but I want to make sure that I can use it as a transition shade. So I'll go into the palette, blend on my eye, go back into the palette, blend on my eye. That way the shade looks effortless, but it still looks like it's blended very well, and you're able to build up the color to the approximate amount of color that you want. Go back in with my Wet n Wild brush just to make sure there's no harsh lines, and then I'm going to go in with the Royal and Langnickel Moto Pro Crease brush. I'm going to take the Cranberry shade, and when I mean take, I mean like 2 dips and then tap it off because it is so pigmented. I ain't trying to get Cranberry shade all over my face. So I'm patting it on my eye and then doing circular motions. The patting helps distribute the pigment, and then the circular motions helps to blend it. So I'm blending it very seamlessly just to make sure that it's not harsh next to the brown shade that we put in our transition area. I'm going to pat, and then I'm going to do my circular motions again just to get that technique down. It helps really, really sufficiently when it comes to blending your eyeshadow. Next, I'm going to take the same Luxie brush earlier that we used for our transition shade, and I'm going to use that to blend the cranberry shade into the milk chocolate brown that we used, just because I felt like we lost the milk chocolate brown when we were blending with the cranberry shade, so I felt like using the Luxie brush again would help redistribute that color to make sure that it's still noticeable. Next, I'm going to take my beauty sponge by L'Oreal, and I'm going to carve out my eyeshadow to make sure that it looks more angled and defined. You could also use tape to do this, but I would advise to do that before you do your base makeup so you don't get any tape marks. Next, I'm going to go back into the palette and I'm going to choose the shade that we'll be doing for our lid. I spent like 10 billion years trying to decide. I actually chose 2 shadow shades and then 2 highlighter shades, and I ended up going with one of the highlighter shades. The highlighter shade is actually the one on my middle finger that you see right there that I will be using. It's this nice golden, but not too deep of a gold. I'm going to take it on this Ecotools dual-ended brush on the fluffier side, and I'm going to coat my brush in it, and then I'm going to tap off the excess, and then I'm going to drench the brush in the Illuminating setting spray by Cover FX that we used earlier. Just because I noticed that when you like anything, if you do MAC Fix Plus, if you do any setting spray, heck, if you even just do water, it just helps the shadow be more pigmented when it comes to the lid color. So as you can see here, I was really happy with the outcome. However, the brush isn't very dense, it's very fluffy, and it wasn't giving me the shine that I wanted. It was decent enough, you could leave it like this, but what I ended up doing was going into the highlighter shade with my finger and then putting that shade on my lid with just my finger, like not even using the brush. And I feel like sometimes that's the best way to get the utmost pigment that you can from something. So I just went in with my finger and I got the color that I wanted. Go in with my e.l.f. contour brush. I know, it's a contour brush. Again, not using it for contour. Going into the cranberry shade, and I'm going to pat it on the outer corner of my eyelid, just so we still have that definition. I knew I wanted this to be a effortless look and look more seamless, but that doesn't mean that I want to lose all the pigment and the color payoff, especially when this palette has a lot of pigment. Like, you want to be able to show it off. I'm going to go back in with the Luxie brush because although I want the pigment, I still want it to look blended. I'm just going to blend it out there. I'm going in with my Sephora angled brush, and I'm going to take the milk chocolate shade that we used in our transition to smudge underneath my lash line. Hello everyone, you see my footage backdrop there. And then I'm just going to smudge this underneath my lash line. Take the cranberry shade and I'm going to put it on the brush, and I'm going to use it for the outer lower lash line and smudge it under there, just to connect the crease shadow to our lower lash line. Hello mother, she pops in the background, starts having a conversation with me while I'm doing my makeup. I'm gonna do it to the other side now. Next, I'm going to take this Urban Decay brush, and I'm going to go into the second shade in the palette, and I'm going to use this as the inner corner highlight for this look. This shade is a nice pink gold duochrome, which really helps tie together the entire look because we have the cranberry shade, which is like our pinky red that is seen in the inner corner highlight. We also have the gold shade that is highlighted on the lid that also is emphasized in the inner corner highlight as well. I'm going to take my Wet n Wild brush again and use this to diffuse any harsh lines as well as highlight my brow bone. And then I'm going to go into the Marc Jacobs black liner to use for my tight line. And when in doubt, just fling your liner across the room. You can always pick it up later, am I right? Next, I'm going to go in with the Colourpop Nude Liner, and I'm going to use this as our waterline liner, just because I want to be able to brighten up our eye look, and this will just make us have really big and vibrant eyes. You can never have enough setting spray, so go ahead and drench yourself in setting spray again like I do. It's the best way to have fun. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap my beauty blender all over my face just to make sure that all the powder is seamlessly blended into my skin. And then I'm going to go in with this mascara. It's the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. As you can see, this mascara does the best for your lashes. You don't even need to wear false lashes with this mascara. I swear, it's amazing. I love it. Next, I'm going to go in with this lip shade that we got in our BOXYCHARM box last month. And it's this very nice, deep berry wine shade. I have a swatch for you on my hand. I love it. And I'm going to use this as the lip color for today's look, just because I felt like it really tied together with the crease of the cranberry look and the wine look. And this is just a perfect type of lip color to wear during this holiday season. So I hope you guys like this. If this isn't your type of shade, you could always go for a pinky nude, and that will definitely look good with this look as well. And that's the finished look, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this golden cranberry inspired look. Please like, rate, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.